All right, good evening. It is Monday, January 29th, and this is our Zoom session number one for module number one. At the moment, I wanted to respect your time, and so it is 6 o'clock Arizona time or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I wanted to get started. So no one has joined me yet, but hopefully one or two or three or four of you, all of you, will join me. It's a pleasure to teach you this 5 weeks at St. Thomas University. My name is Dr. Adam Henry, and I am your instructor for cross-cultural relations and management. And this is, as I mentioned, our first Zoom session. So I'm going to basically introduce you to the course, make sure that we're on the same page, and then I'll also provide you with some additional information as it relates to our topic of looking at diversity and cultural sensitivity, both in our personal lives as well as in the workplace. So I'm going to share my screen and hopefully be able to do it. All right, perfect. All right, so let me begin. And although no one is with me at the moment, feel free, if you hear anything that you have questions about, please feel free to email me as always. My email address is ahenry2@stu.edu, and that information is in our Canvas shell as well. So again, welcome to Cross-Cultural Relations and Management. I'm really excited about this course. I feel like I have quite a bit to offer you with regards to the literature that exists on the topic, as well as some practical experiences. I've been in the workforce for how long now? 19 years, and been in higher ed for about half of those years. I know some of you have been in the workforce longer than I have, so you're going to be able to apply a lot of what we're talking about in this course to real life situations that you've been a part of. So from me to you, congratulations on being a doctoral student. I was in a doctoral program at Arizona State University from 2010 to 2014. It was a ton of work. It feels never ending, but I guarantee that it will pay off for you. So I'm excited to help you learn, help you gain this information, help you accomplish your goals as a doctoral student. I would also love to hear from you on where you're at in your program. Just so I kind of know what you've taken already. I will highlight the course syllabus, but I just want to let you know that that does exist on our Canvas shell. Also, an overview and learning outcomes for the course are listed there. And I would have to say a summary of all of this is for you to understand what diversity and cultural awareness looks like in the workplace, how to apply it, how to lead as a leader by focusing on diversity and inclusion, and then how do you get your workforce, those that work for you and with you, to also appreciate culture and appreciate diversity and understand that we have to, in today's world, appreciate cultural diversity on so many levels. I'm also going to go over with you tonight our course assignments for Module 1, and then because you are already a St. Thomas University student, I'm sure you understand how Canvas works, but just to give you a quick overview there. So that is me, and there again is my email address, ahenry2@stu.edu. I do have my STU email address on my smartphone, so I get your messages the moment you send them, and if it's a quick response, I plan to respond quickly to you. So just know that I am available. I do have my EDD from ASU in a program that's very similar to the one that you're in, from my understanding, on leadership and innovation. I've been teaching undergraduate and graduate courses since 2014 after I graduated. And most of the coursework that I teach is focused on either leadership and theory of practice within leadership, or it's very much focused on cultural studies, cultural awareness. I teach a global trends class as well. And my full-time job from 7:30 to 4 every day is the director of the Study Abroad office. So we have a team of about 25 who send ASU students and faculty all over the world on credit-bearing activities, so study abroad programs, internships. We send about 2,500 students out a year, and we're hoping to double that within a few years. So introductions, no one else is on the line right now or within the Zoom, so I can't have you introduce yourself there, but we do have an introduction as part of the assignment for this week. It's actually due on Wednesday, the 31st by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll also go over that we have 3 papers in the class, as well as 5 discussion board posts and replies. As with all of your other classes, please know that you are to post your discussion board by Wednesday of each week by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. And then I will jump in and reply to you. But then you also need to, by Sunday of each week by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you are to reply to 1 to 2 of your peers. And they should, as Canvas and our syllabus highlights, they should be thoughtful responses that also highlight the literature that we're reading. So you would want to have kind of a works cited or a reference listing as part of your post. So some course expectations for you that I want you to know about on day 1. The first one is submit all of your assignments on time. I know that you have a ton happening right now in your life. You're working full-time, you're a doctoral student, some of you have families, some of you are moving, the list goes on. You have a lot of life stresses. But I know that when students stay up on the assignments, they do exceptionally well. I also want to make sure that you only submit APA formatted assignments, and I'm very happy to provide you with feedback on APA formatting so that if you are struggling or you just need some additional knowledge on it, I'll be happy to provide that to you. I am reading your assignments as doctoral students, the highest level of education that one can receive in the world. I don't know if this has been presented to you, but only 1.5% of Americans hold doctoral degrees. So that means you are an exception and an elite group. And that means that you need to be able to write and think at the highest level. So I will be pretty picky about your writing, and you'll receive points, reduced points if the writing is not at a high level or APA formatting is off or even your grammar is off. So I'll work with you, but I also want to let you know that. Complete each assignment to its fullest. As I mentioned, I know you're busy, but try to give yourself enough time to complete these assignments so that they benefit you. And that you're not just doing them to do them, and that eventually you can use some of this as you write your dissertation. So I'll talk more about that, but I want you to think of all of these assignments as leading up to what you're eventually going to have to spend a lot of time on is your dissertation. This is an online class like your other ones, and so I'd encourage you to interact with your classmates as much as possible. If you don't interact, I'll let you know that. And then my late assignment submission policy. If an assignment is due, let's say on a Monday, I will collect your assignment late the next day, which would be Tuesday, and I'll reduce 10% of your points. I'll also collect it on Wednesday, the second day that it's late, and I'll remove 20% of points. And on the third day, which in this context would be Thursday, I would take 30% off of your points. And then come the fourth day, I would no longer accept the assignment. So please know that ahead of time. If something comes up where, I don't know, unfortunately you had a hospital visit or you get really, really sick or that type of thing, then we will talk. But just know that that is my published late assignment policy, and I'm pretty firm and stick to it. So something that is sent to me 5 days after the due date, I'll grade it, I'll review it, but I will not give you any points. So after the third day, no points given. And if you have any questions about that, again, like I said with all of this, please let me know. All right, so our Zoom sessions, we will use the same URL each week, and the URL was posted in Canvas. So you'll just click on that, and then we will be connected. The purpose of our sessions is to make sure that you're on the right path and the right track with our course. So I'm going to go over assignments. I'm also going to provide some additional information. And really, if you jump on, I'll love to answer any questions, provide any clarity to make sure that you succeed in the course. Our sessions will be 30 minutes each, And I am recording these, and I'll post those so that you can see them. So today, Module 1, January 29th. Module 2 will be on February 5th. Module 3 will be on February 13th. Module 4, unfortunately, I'm going to be traveling in Washington, D.C. So at this point, I'm going to record that Zoom session and post it. But if there's the ability to be live with you, I will definitely let you know. And then Module 5 is on Monday the 26th, and that will be our last one. Again, as always, if you have any questions about any of this, you can email me, and I'll be happy to get back to you. All right, so for Module 1, the value of diversity is the title, and introductions, as I mentioned already, are due on Wednesday, January 31st by 11:59 p.m. That is not graded, but I will review it and provide you with feedback, but you will not receive any points for it, and it's really just a great way for you to introduce yourselves to one another. So you'll want to follow the prompt that is there. And I posted either last night or today, so you'll see kind of what I'm expecting. There are lecture notes in Module 1 focused on all that we want you to learn in Module 1, as well as a PowerPoint. And I'm actually going to show some of that PowerPoint tonight just to provide some context for you. We do have Module 1 readings plus a video that we need you to watch and read. There is no textbook for this class, so all of your readings are located within Canvas. Also, due February 3rd, which is this coming Saturday, you have a short paper on defining and developing your diversity IQ. So there's a really great TED Talk video that you're going to watch in this module. I, of course, watched it and found it very challenging. So there's a rubric that's in Canvas on what is going to give you a good grade, basically, what we want you to follow. So there's a learning rubric for the paper. And then in the 3-page paper, you are going to use course materials as well as external resources, and you're going to define and describe what workforce diversity is and how can one develop their diversity IQ. So you can write in the context of to develop your diversity IQ, an individual can blank, 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 or you could talk personal and say how I'm going to develop my diversity IQ are the following. So both of those will work. And then we have a discussion board post for Module 1, again, that is due Wednesday, and then your reply is due on Sunday, February 4th. So you will have assignments due this Wednesday, the introductions, then Saturday you have your paper due, and then, let me back up. Wednesday, you have your introductions and posting of discussion number 1. And then Saturday, you have your 3-page paper. And then Sunday, you need to respond to your peers in the class. So there's quite a bit. But as you know, with other St. Thomas courses, I think it's doable. And you're going to learn a lot in 5 weeks. So Module 1, our discussion board post that we're going to want you to respond to is after viewing this week's video, which again is on Canvas, on improving your diversity IQ, please share how you plan to improve your diversity IQ based on the suggestions in the video. So this is where it's going to be personal. So with that, you would know that people are going to be reading this. So if there's something sensitive or confidential, you might not want to post that. But anything else is going to be posted, and your peers will be able to respond to that, as will I. So for the discussion board, your post must be at least 300 words, formatted and cited in proper APA, with the support from at least 2 academic sources. So that means you would have to list those sources. Again, I think I've said it 3 times now, your post should be on Wednesday, and then your reply Sunday. And again, just a friendly reminder, that I'm available for any questions, suggestions, comments, etc. at ahenry2@stu.edu. So that is what I wanted to share with you tonight, but I also want to share with you another presentation that you actually have in your Canvas. And there is a lot of information in here, and I have about 15 more minutes. These are going to be 30 minutes each. So there's also lecture notes that I have here, but you have them posted in Canvas. And instead of reading these, because that would be extremely boring, and I know that adults don't learn by being read to, I want you to read the information. So here I'm just going to provide kind of my own context and maybe some helpful tips as we look at some of these topics. So cross-cultural relations and management, diversity within organizations is visible in race, age, gender, educational background, work attitude, and personal values. And I actually think that I would disagree with that in the sense that diversity within an organization is actually only visible in the first three. So it's very hard when I look at a picture to determine someone's educational background, their work attitude, and their personal values. So I think what's important really here is that within diversity in the workplace, people often only think of race, age, and gender, but actually there is a lot more to it. And so right now, like in my office of 25, we are really trying to diversify our staff, but we're not as concerned about age only or race only or gender. We're looking for a real nice mixture of individuals who have even different educational backgrounds than the traditional person that would work in a study abroad office, as well as personal values. When you can get a team together with people who are not thinking the same and not coming from the same homogeneous background, it's a really beautiful thing. And I think that as emerging leaders, or maybe you're already in a senior leadership role, that is the key to all that we're going to be discussing in these 5 weeks. The diversity actually creates a really amazing and beautiful workforce and office, way more than if someone is afraid to go kind of outside of their comfort zone and just start hiring people who look and think the same as them. I guarantee that an organization will not be as successful if they stay in that mode. So the first dimension of diversity that relates to teamwork is leadership. And so this is really directed to you as current leaders, that a leader has to communicate effectively, they have to be able to influence, they have to motivate, they have to listen, they have to help team members, and they have to support people achieve goals. That is a ton of work, and it is exhausting. But I think that it's really important to highlight that a leader isn't just one of these, that according to this definition, a leader has all of these traits. And in a given day, like today, I probably spent most of my time communicating effectively and influencing just because of the situation that I was in. But tomorrow, I might be listening most of the day and supporting staff to achieve their goals. So a leader has to recognize that every day is a different day with regards to leadership, and a real leader that people are going to really follow and really appreciate is going to be what's listed on our screen here. Diversity and teamwork. I said it already, but team members bring a diverse mix to the workplace. Team members share their knowledge and expertise, and so you want people who have different worldviews, who have different life experiences, and cultural differences bring creative thinking in tremendous ways. So encouraging employees to contribute their diverse skills, talents, and ideas leads to improved teamwork and interpersonal relationships, which in turn leads to improved productivity. So I guarantee that when a team is functioning at a high level because of the relationships, that in turn their productivity is going to drastically change. And I think a lot of leaders forget about that part, about how they actually have to provide time for their team to gain those relationships and to build trust. And that trust has to happen with the leader, him or her, who are he or she, who is leading that team. So for example, and I know that this isn't part of what we're talking about, but a way that I work to build trust with those team members who report to me is my calendar is very public. So at any given time, they know where I'm at, they know who I'm meeting with, and they pretty much know the topic. If I need to talk about a personnel matter through Outlook, I can simply click the private button and then they won't be able to see. But I rarely put private on, or I make my meetings private. Another thing that I do is with certain staff, I'm very vulnerable and very transparent with our budget. I don't want to be the only person and my business manager who know about the budget. I want our staff to know how much money we have to spend, how much money we need to bring in, and when we need to make really smart financial decisions. But I think for too long, only the senior leadership within an organization or within a working unit have known about the budget. Integrating diversity and cultural competence. So I wrote my dissertation, I think I mentioned this, a lot about cultural competency. So you're going to hear me talk about that. But companies must invest time, effort, and money to develop an infrastructure that supports the organization's culturally complex marketplace. And I think what that means is that you have to build in time to really invest in who you have and be able to pull out all the differences that exist and then capitalize on those differences within an organization. Culturally competent organizations are impacted by corporate governance, obviously by the way they communicate, by their infrastructure, their L&D, and then also their employees. So these sections are really just highlighting how demographics are changing. And I think the summary here is that the workforce is getting younger and younger. And I think the skill set is completely different from the skill set of those who are a bit older in the workforce today. So even for me, I'll be open and honest, I'm 40 years old, and we are hiring 23-year-olds, and you would not believe the knowledge they have on social media, on technology. The things they are able to resolve on their own without any guidance is absolutely incredible. Now, I could take that and I could say they shouldn't do that by themselves, or someone more senior should help them out. But no, you really have to say, how do we capitalize on this incredible knowledge and this incredible skill set and make the most of it? And I think that's the overall key, is that you have to see individuals for their individual gifts, abilities, and strengths. And when you can do that, that's when your team really comes together and collectively begins to become very successful. And that drastically, or that definitely includes the diversity within your team. So this is fascinating, the impact of changing demographics. Whites is expected to increase to 5 million between year 2000 and 2010. So we've passed that. Hispanics up to 9 million, African Americans 3.8, Asian Americans 3.8, and Native Americans up to 266,000. So I think what is important there is that the demographics within the US are drastically changing, but I think by the time of 2050, these groups that are looked at as maybe minorities or smaller groups of populations are actually going to be the size of the dominant, here as the example of white individuals or Caucasian. So all that says that the market drastically is changing, the workforce, I should say, and that you have to, as a manager, a supervisor, a director, assistant provost, a vice president, the list goes on, have to be aware of this and have to make sure that your workforce represents the demographics of the US. I think I'm going to wrap it up here with a few more slides. Effective use of the diverse workforce. You're going to read about how creating a workplace where differences can be learned and leveraged is incredibly important. And you're going to read about how organizations are utilizing affinity groups of likes with likes, kind of homogeneous populations. So a group of maybe Hispanic employees are getting together and talking with senior leadership. A group of Asian or Asian American employees are getting together, and they're providing insights not only about their culture, but how their company can potentially expand into reaching more of their population, of their ethnic makeup. And I think that when companies are afraid of that, or when they're not doing it, they're really going to miss out. So there's a great case study to read about with IBM in your notes, where IBM has been hiring women especially, and also minorities, and the productivity of their workforce has drastically increased, but their income has drastically increased. And so I think this is an outstanding thing that IBM has done. So definitely take a look at that case study and read through that. So for the sake of this course, it looks like the definition of diversity is a mix of religions, race, cultures, sexual orientation, and other elements that, quote, impact all nations around the world to one extent or another. And I think to go on, this is exactly what I wanted to say. All employees must be culturally competent by understanding needs, wants, desires, strengths, weaknesses, beliefs, and values of each person. When I teach, I talk a lot about ideas, values, and beliefs. Again, ideas, values, and beliefs. And these ideas, values, and beliefs are aspects of an individual that drastically shape their worldview, but also shape the way that they think and the way that they work. And when someone's ideas, values, and beliefs are put up against the wall and threatened, that's when they shut down or they fight back. And so I talk to students a lot about gaining it's tolerance, cultural tolerance, and respect for people who think and look and act differently than you, and being able to find the best in them and respect them, and as a result, being able to function in a healthy way as a team. So you'll hear me talk about ideas, values, and beliefs and the impact that they have on so many aspects of our lives, including the workforce. All right, so that is a major crash course on Module 1. I hope that it was helpful for you if you were able to listen to it, and I hope that it provides some context and makes the notes and the PowerPoint come to life a bit more, and also that you can hear some examples that I was able to share of just different experiences that I've had in the workforce as it relates to diversity and the respect of individuals. So again, looking forward to teaching you these 5 weeks. It's a fascinating topic and a fascinating course. It could be super challenging for some of you. It also could be a really great review for some of you. And maybe there are some of you in between where it's a bit of a challenge or a stretch, but then also you kind of have heard it. And so now I hope that we're able to digest it and be able to start practicing it and implementing it in our everyday lives. So I look forward to working with you this week, and then next Monday we'll be together for Module 2. Have a great week, and again, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.